everyone. I'm Lindsay Paulo. Thanks for joining us for tonight's public briefing for the Public Safety Power Shutoff that is expected to begin later tonight. We're going to share some details with you about the weather forecast, including some updates from our Chief Meteorologist, Scott Sternfeld. Our incident commander is with us tonight as well. That's Mark Quinlan. He's going to discuss some specifics about the shutoff and then also about power restoration. Finally, we've got Vanessa Bryan with us tonight. She's a manager of local customer experience. She's going to talk about the support that will be available to our customers throughout this event. I'll also note that we have several members of the media on with us tonight. After we give our situational briefing, we're going to turn to those reporters, give them an opportunity to ask a couple of questions, and would remind them that they need to hit *1 to get into the queue. So we're going to move right into an overview first of this Public Safety Power Shutoff event. And first, I want to emphasize that, we know how disruptive this is to our customers. And turning off power is a tool of last resort. This is not something that we take lightly. We only use this tool when the weather is so severe that it could put at risk people's safety, their lives, their homes, and their businesses, and that may be in danger. As for the situation at this hour, here's what we're expecting. The severe weather conditions from very early Sunday morning until Monday morning. Now, this includes forecasted wind gusts of up to about 55 miles per hour. As a result, we are preparing to turn off power to nearly 89,000 customers in parts of 16 counties, as well as to one tribe. Power will be turned off in phases, depending on the regional timing of the weather. The first wave is expected to start after midnight tonight and includes about 15,000 customers in portions of these counties: Butte, Plumas, Shasta, and Tehama. Now, the remainder of the shutoffs are expected to start Sunday evening. Now, our incident commander, Mark, will share more about these phases in just a moment. Once the weather has passed, then our crews will begin patrolling lines that we de-energized for any potential wind-related damage. Then we expect to have essentially all customers restored by late Monday night, again, weather dependent. Now, during the shutoff, we are ready to support our customers by opening 28 community resource centers. These are commonly known as CRCs, which Vanessa is going to be covering for us shortly. Now, finally, before we turn to Scott Sternfeld for a weather update, I do want to note that we carefully review a number of factors when deciding whether the power must be turned off. Now, these factors include low humidity levels, generally 20% and below, forecasted winds above 25 miles per hour and gusts above 45 miles per hour, red flag warnings issued by the National Weather Service, the condition of the dry material that's on the ground and the live vegetation, and then also on the ground real-time observations by our crews. So with that overview, we want to get into more of the details of the forecast, and for that, we're going to go straight to Scott Sternfeld, our Chief Meteorologist. Scott.
All right, thanks, Lindsay, and good evening, everyone. So the operational meteorology team here at PG&E has been closely tracking another Diablo wind event expected to develop across Northern California overnight tonight and continue through Monday morning. First, I'd like to briefly kind of touch on how we track these systems in general. And so we analyze a number of public as well as proprietary weather models, such as the American, known as the GFS model, the Canadian, the European model, as they're more colloquially known. And then as we get closer to the event, we can come into range of some of our high resolution forecast models. And so we have two variants, one that's at 3-kilometer resolution, another one that's at 2-kilometer resolution with the option of running sub-kilometer resolution. And then we also come in range of other federal high resolution models as well. And so all these, the data from these federal and proprietary models are pulled in-house and processed to kind of analyze what some of the conditions are for some of these events. And each day, our internal systems and our cloud-based systems are processing multiple terabytes of weather data. And so about 2 days ago, we did see weather forecast models from a number of these models that I mentioned increase the strength of the event. And since that time, they've remained relatively consistent on the strength of this event. Comparing with the event that we went through earlier in the month, it does look like it's similar to maybe slightly less in terms of magnitude. And then during that PSPS event, after we had a chance to, restore power, our crews went out and found over 80 cases of wind-related damages or hazards in the previous event earlier this month. As it pertains to the weather event timeline, we anticipate that the north to northeasterly Diablo winds will develop later tonight in the Sacramento Valley as well as the northern Sierra. These winds are going to, start off near midnight, and then they're going to increase in strength overnight before sunrise tomorrow morning, and then they're going to be tapering off in midday. And then we do expect a stronger impulse of northeast to easterly winds, another Diablo kind of impulse moving in Sunday night, and that will continue through Monday morning, tapering off after sunrise on Monday. These winds are generally expected to be strongest, generally north of a San Francisco to Yosemite line at this time. And then across the south, we are analyzing the potential for another Santa Ana wind event to develop overnight Sunday night into Monday, and it'll potentially produce some dry, gusty southerly winds in the elevated terrain, like the Tehachapi's elevated terrain of Kern County. So for the past week, PG&E meteorologists have been collaborating with other meteorologists from the federal forecast agencies via interagency daily calls. And as you're seeing on the screen here, the National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning for this event for the majority of Northern California due to the rapid spread of wildfires, which is really the combination, due to the combination of these dry winds and low relative humidity levels. The footprint that you see on the screen here is represented. The pink area is the red flag warning, and there's about 2 million customers from PG&E that are encapsulated within that red flag warning footprint. Most of these warnings across Northern California go into effect starting at 9 p.m. this evening, and they're not expected to expire until noon on Monday. The National Weather Service is also indicating wind gusts with this event could be up to 45 miles per hour in the Sierra Nevada foothills, with peak gusts up to 55 miles per hour. And then in the Bay Area, primarily we're focused on the North Bay Mountains at this time. We could see some peak wind gusts around 50 miles per hour in the kind of Mount St. Helena, some of the elevated terrain that's in the North Bay. And then another federal forecast agency known as Predictive Services is also forecasting risk of significant fire potential due to the same gusty and winds coupled with low humidity both Sunday and Monday across most of Northern California. And their general thinking on wind speeds is generally aligned with what we're seeing and also what the National Weather Service is seeing. So it's very important that we're, aligned with what federal agencies are saying. And, to top this all off, the surface fuels out there and vegetation on the ground is extremely dry this time of year. I think we all understand that. But to understand that further, PG&E as well as federal and state agencies go out and they actually sample the vegetation and take regular readings about how much moisture is available in that vegetation, primarily in the shrub fuels like chamise and manzanita. And right now, what we're finding by looking at some of that data is that those fuel moistures are at critically dry levels this time of year, and typically at those levels that historically can support large and catastrophic fires. And so in general, we're aligned with the agencies, and we'll continue to monitor this 24/7. The PG&E operational meteorology team is going to be staffed 24/7 to monitor this event. And we're now kind of in the period where we're transitioning into focusing on observations and looking at observations to verify what we're seeing from the forecast models. And so in order to do that, we're using more than 850 weather stations that PG&E has installed to kind of understand what the winds and humidity and temperatures are doing across our territory. So that really concludes the weather update. I'll pass it back to you, Lindsay.
Okay, Scott, thanks. A couple of things I wanted to hit on. You mentioned the significant fire potential and a few things that are contributing to that. We've got a red flag warning in effect for much of the service area. You mentioned the Diablo winds in the Sacramento Valley and also in the northern Sierra. And I think it's later in the event we could see some Santa Ana winds in the south affecting portions of Kern County. So it's the combination of the dry winds, the low humidity, and the fuel on the ground that really lacks moisture right now. Is that right?
That's exactly right. It's the kind of co-location of this event, the strong winds, the low relative humidities, and those dry fuels that I mentioned on the ground, which is producing some critical risk out there.
Okay, Scott, thanks for that update. Really appreciate it. We want to turn now to our incident commander. That's Mark Quinlan. He's going to give us an update on how this is going to roll out in a couple of different waves, timeline, and then also what restoration is going to look like. Mark.
Okay, great. Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening, everybody. Before I get into the details, I just want to kind of reemphasize what Lindsay said at the top about how it's a challenging time for all of us right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, working from home, schooling from home, and we recognize that power interruptions are a hardship. We certainly recognize that, which is why we put so much energy and so much thought into scoping these events and really treating them as our last resort option in the name of public safety. So our Emergency Operations Center has been open for a few days. We've been working with the meteorology team, monitoring the weather conditions that have been coming into the state or forecasted to come into the state. And we're looking at a total event scope of roughly 89,000 customers across 16 counties and 1 tribal area. The team has put a lot of effort into the scoping process. How do we make these areas, these geographic danger zones, as small as possible? And you can see on the slide here, we have 3 general areas that are listed here, 1, 2, and 3. Areas 2 and 3 are grouped together. They come later over the event sequence. The first area is about 15,000 customers. We expect to de-energize those 15,000 customers for public safety this evening, a little after midnight, between 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and we need to do that in order to ensure that our system's off and safe prior to the dangerous winds coming into the service territory. So you can see the bulk of the event scope is in the Sierra foothills. And we have it split accordingly, a northern portion and a southern portion. So that northern portion is the portion that goes off first. You can see the counties on the slide that are impacted. The second area is the southern Sierra foothills and a portion of the North Bay, very small portion of North Bay, including portions of Lake County, Napa County, and Sonoma County. Only 2 customers in Sonoma County, but it's a very, very small geographic danger zone in the North Bay. This is primarily a Sierra foothill type of event. And Scott mentioned that Santa Ana wind that's coming, we expect some impacts in Kern County, although thankfully they're very small in scope. So with respect to the off times for tomorrow's shutoff event, which would be the areas listed in the slide under number 2 and number 3. We're anticipating those winds coming in at the end of the day tomorrow. So what we want to do is begin the de-energization sequence in the late afternoon, right around 4 p.m. And finally, once we have everybody in the de-energized state, we'll be monitoring the weather and we'll be looking to issue the all clear. If we go to the next slide, we can talk a little bit about how we restore our customers once conditions are safe to do so. So as mentioned, we do monitor that weather very, very closely, and we're always looking for opportunities through our weather stations. We get a lot of wind speed readings through the weather stations. And if we see winds decrease to safe levels, that's when we start gearing up and getting ready to restore. So it really starts with starting with that all clear. That means, when is it safe? When are the weather conditions safe? The winds are down. When is it safe to re-energize our system? Once we do that and we declare that time, we already have a number of crews and a number of helicopters that are pre-staged in the general vicinity of that outage area. And once we get that all clear, we immediately then begin to patrol and to restore our electric system. While we do that, we may encounter some hazards or some damage that has occurred on the system while it was off. You know, examples of this could be tree branches that have blown into our lines, wires down, poles down. We've seen this in previous public safety power shutoff events, and we are anticipating seeing it in this event as well. As we find these locations, we dispatch our repair crews behind our patrol crews to immediately make repairs while patrols continue. And it's a process where we segment our distribution system into smaller sections so that we can have multiple patrollers and multiple crews strategically positioned so that we're patrolling and restoring all at once, as opposed to patrolling an entire circuit and then restoring the circuit. We find that we can get people back in lights faster that way and safer that way. Once we do restore the power, you will be getting a notification from PG&E indicating that your power has been restored. That's the very, very last step of the process. So our strategy on the evening shift of our operational period in the Emergency Operations Center is really to focus on that first part of the event scope to 15,000 customers, de-energize those safely, and then pivot into monitoring the weather. And then we'll monitor it throughout the day tomorrow. And we will de-energize only as a last resort tomorrow if the conditions are unsafe. So with that, Lindsay, I'd like to turn it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Mark. So just recapping, that first wave is just after midnight tonight. The second wave, which is the larger group of customers, would be around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We would start power restoration as soon as we get the all clear and hope to have everyone restored within 12 daylight hours. Is that about accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate, Lindsay. We're optimistic and very confident that we can get everybody restored from this event by end of day on Monday.
Okay, terrific. Thanks, Mark. All right, so we'd like to turn now to Vanessa Bryan. She's with our local customer experience team to tell us a little bit about the support that we're standing up for our customers who will be impacted by this latest PSPS. Vanessa.
Yes, thank you, Lindsay, and hello, everyone. First, I'd like to thank you for watching tonight, and thank you for your patience and your understanding. We're taking a number of actions to help make this experience less difficult for our customers, because we know how difficult it is to be without power. So I'd like to provide an overview of those actions. First, as you can see on the slide, our community resource centers. We have 28 centers that are ready to open tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we'll keep these centers open until the power is restored to essentially all customers in each area. The operating hours of our community resource centers, or CRCs, are 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and customers can go to our website to find the specific locations for their community. The website is pge.com/PSPS updates. Now, these centers provide a safe location to meet basic power needs, such as charging a medical device or electronic devices. And they also have up-to-date information about the PSPS event and basic water, snacks, and essential items really to reduce the hardship on our customers. All the centers reflect appropriate COVID-19 health considerations and state and county guidelines. And to minimize the spread of COVID-19, we do ask our customers not to visit a CRC if they're experiencing symptoms. As far as how we're notifying our customers about this event, initial notifications about a possible PSPS started going out to customers on Thursday evening, approximately 2 days before the shutoff. And as weather patterns changed and scope of the event increased, we sent additional notifications on Friday afternoon and again this morning. Notifications are sent via text message, email, and automated phone calls, and we focus on those customers, again, who are potentially part of this power shutoff. The notifications do include estimated times that the power will be shut off and the estimated time that we expect to be able to turn power back on, plus how to find additional resources and direct customers to our website. And all of these notifications are available in 13 languages. For our customers who rely on power for medical needs and who are enrolled in our medical baseline program, we have extra precautions in place. Now, this event has over 6,000 medical baseline customers that are potentially impacted, and those customers are asked to confirm that they in fact have received the notification by either replying to the text or answering the phone live. And if they do not reply, we will continue to call until we can confirm that they received the message, and we'll even visit in person if there's no response. As for our website, it is updated with the latest PSPS event information, and it is multilingual. It provides content in 13 languages. In addition, our call centers are staffed and they're actively responding to customer calls. So we're also partnering with community-based organizations to assist customers with medical, accessibility, financial, language, and aging needs. These include partnering with the California Foundation for Independent Living Centers, food banks, Meals on Wheels, and other groups that conduct outreach and provide resources to our customers. Now, in this event, the CFILC has already distributed 134 batteries to consumers that we have confirmed are impacted by this event, among other resources like hotel rooms and accessible transportation and food vouchers. Customers who experience food loss can go to participating food banks to replenish their food. And there's information on our website about which food banks are participating. And we also have flyers at our community resource centers for customers to reference. So finally, I want to emphasize the importance of personal preparedness for this event as we look to the rest of the wildfire season. As we know, the season started earlier this year, and we anticipate it to go longer. So we encourage all of our customers to have a plan for staying safe. For example, prepare your emergency plan and consider medical needs like medications that require refrigeration or devices that might need to be charged in advance of the power going off. We also suggest that you build or restock your emergency kit with flashlights, fresh batteries, first aid supplies, and cash, and make sure to keep facial coverings and hand sanitizer in your emergency kit as well. Identify backup charging methods for phones and keep hard copies of emergency numbers on hand. Practice manually opening your garage door and make sure to prepare a go bag. We have more tips about how to prepare at pge.com/PSPS updates. So I'd like to end again by thanking all of you for your patience and your understanding during this PSPS event. We know these are challenging times, and we'll continue to work to make these events as easy as possible on our customers. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Lindsay.
Okay, Vanessa, thank you. So to reiterate, we'll have 28 community resource centers stood up to serve our customers that are impacted by this PSPS event. And Vanessa, a follow-up question for you. You did mention about 130 batteries had already been distributed to some of our customers. Those are customers who have special medical needs, is that right?
That's right. They rely on power for medical or independent living needs, and so those batteries really provide the ability to sustain life when the power is off.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So as we mentioned, we do have at least one reporter on the line with us tonight. It's a Saturday, so we want to welcome Vincent Molesky. He's with the Sacramento Bee. Vincent, if you're on the line, do you have a question or two for our experts?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Oh, great. Yeah, so I just wanted to know, is this weather situation still fluid? Can more customers, if winds, take a turn for the worse, can they be added to this total? What sort of is the fluid situation looking like right now? Or are you pretty confident in the meteorology that you have right now?
So I'll go to both our meteorologists and our IC for that. Do you have another question too, Vincent?
I think that's it for right now.
Okay, terrific. So he's asking, because of the fluidity of the situation and with these PSPS events, is it possible that we could see the number of customers impacted increase? So Mark, maybe we start with you, and then maybe Scott jumps in with a little bit on the forecast. But what's it looking like right now? Do you think that this 89,000 is a pretty good number right now, or could we see it go up or down?
Yeah, thank you, Lindsay. Vincent, great question. Right now, we have a high degree of confidence at this scope. We don't see it moving upward. We actually see it potentially, collapsing. Well, there's always a chance that weather conditions can change. We're prepared for that. But working with Scott and his team, we've been monitoring this system for at least the last 7 days, watching it come in, and models have aligned and stabilized. I'll let Scott speak to the specifics about that, but based on that, we feel rather confident in the size of the event.
Yeah, this is Scott. I can add my comments as well, and Mark touched on it quite well. And going back to my briefing, this is one of the reasons why we pull in so many weather models, is because that we base our confidence based on forecast model alignment. And so when we get into a situation where we are now, where forecast models are relatively aligned on the strength, the timing of this event, our confidence in that transpiring goes up. And so we're kind of at that stage now, and we haven't seen over the past couple of days models strengthen the event. They have stabilized. With that being said, we know that it's one thing to look at a forecast, it's another to look at observations as they're coming in. And so what we're going to be doing now, and what we're transitioning into, is starting to go from that forecast to monitoring observations and make any sort of real-time adjustments as needed based on what we're seeing the actual weather event unfold like.
Okay. Thanks very much, Scott. Okay, so with that, in case anyone is joining us late, just want to sort of recap for you. We're looking at potentially turning off power to nearly 89,000 customers in parts of 16 counties, as well as one tribe. This will occur in 2 waves. The first wave starting just after midnight tonight, that includes about 15,000 customers in portions of Butte, Plumas, Shasta, and Tehama counties. And then the remainder of the shutoffs are expected to start later tomorrow afternoon, sometime after 4. And we feel very confident that we will get all of our customers restored, or nearly all of our customers restored, within 12 daylight hours after the all clear, sometime late Monday. With that, we want to thank you again for joining us. We appreciate your patience. We know this is very difficult for our customers. We will have 28 community resource centers stood up in the areas affected to support our customers. And again, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. For more information, you can get the latest PSPS updates by going to our website at pge.com/PSPS updates. And we plan to be back with another update for you, same time tomorrow on our YouTube channel. With that, please stay safe.